Oh, I missed the first half hour. I forgot to click the record button. Okay. So hopefully you can remember the last half an hour. I forgot to press the record button. Okay. So I'm going to give you the IP for this here, this that you're going to type. So what you're going to type is this one. Can all of you see what I've sent out in the chat? So please, in the spirit of education and self-learning, don't use this only for accessing your mobile app, because this is my home IP server. So don't send me a DOS. If not, I will stop the services. All right. So type this into here, into your text, into the text box, and then press the text button. Press the button. Okay. Type it inside here. Click the button. What do you see? Do you see anything? Or do you see error? No one can access, is it? I don't see any reply. Can anyone access? Or having problem accessing? Okay, the block window is just like this. But you must type exactly as what I've put in my chat. Let me see. Did I put only my chat? Yeah, it should be like this, correct. Your web don't have go to this one. You go to this web viewer, you see web viewer, and then go to URL, this one. Oh, I think it's loaded. Okay, it's good that we test this one out first. Yes, Hanyo got it. Yes, yes. You must be able to see the test site. If you can't see the test site, we have to make sure that you can connect. Okay. Okay, Cochin saw it. Yeah, probably my internet here is a bit slow, so sorry about that. I really can't do anything on that. As long as you don't get, like, say the website kind of error where you cannot access or you cannot find. As long as if like it's still loading, it's fine. It's just a bit slow. Okay. Okay, good. I assume all of you got this, able to access. Okay, once you're able to access, we are going to do up the database access. Is there's quite a few things, so I'll be doing it slowly, okay? Okay. Okay. Let me go back to here again. Let's see. Let me do a new screen. I'll do a new screen so that it'll be easier and cleaner for me to show you just on accessing the database. So at the end, I mean, once you're able to capture this, you can do your integration work with your POS system at a later stage, okay? Let me just show you how to access the database from here. So let me just use the new screen. And in this new screen, we would need this connectivity here, and we'll need this. This is for accessing the database. Okay, just drag and drop. Okay, there we are. So for this, I'm going to show you. I'm going to show you four features. If you remember in my last session when I talk about database, there's different functions, right? For the database systems, there are a few things that we need to take note of, which are the function we can do is like we can add record, we can modify the information, modify the record, the fields, the value inside the record. We can delete, right? Yeah. And we can append. Append basically is the same as add, as long as you are able to do that. So let me see. I think maybe show you 3 will be sufficient. Or the other one is select. Select, you definitely need to do select. Okay, I'll show you 4 function. So let's design this. Go to the layout. Same thing again. Go to layout. Do up a vertical scroll alignment. Max that to the fill. To fill the whole screen. Now, if you notice that your screen is not big enough, you can always change this, right? Change to a tablet size so that at least you have a bigger workspace. So a lot of time, even if you have the handphone that's like bigger screen, more than 6-inch, right? I would suggest that you use the tablet size because that screen is almost the same as your phone, even though it looks bigger. It's just that because of the pixel resolution. Okay, so you can make it bigger. In my case, I make it smaller because later you might need to make it bigger is because the information that you retrieve from a database will be a bit lengthy. So maybe if you make it bigger, it's better. Okay. Then we need horizontals. Stretch it. We will need quite a few. Okay, so I'm gonna just do this a few times. So I don't have to keep repeating again later. Okay. Um, okay, first and foremost, we need to add information to the database. I have added mine, so I want all of you to add your individual. I'll explain about the database, the tables later, shortly after this. But let's design our screen first. And first and foremost, if you want to add information, we need to add in all the different fields, right? So if you recall, go back to the screen again. So in your mobile app 7, we were focusing on this point of sale, right? So this point of sales, you would have all this information. So I mentioned the last time, this is your inventory table. So your inventory table contains this stock ID, the fields. These are all the fields. Stock ID, stock name, unit cost, selling price, discount quantity, and the quantity for discount. And you are going to have 3 functions, right? So with these 3 functions, you will need to do, you need to have 4 features in accessing your database. So the first and foremost is you want to be able to add data, right? You need to add data to your table, add all this data. You need to add all this data to the database. And then after that, you need to be able to select them. You need to search them, right? Or query, right? And then thirdly, you must be able to also to, if you make any, you want to change, like say, for example, this unit price from 88 to, let's say, 99, you need to be able to modify, right? Modify the data. And then lastly, you might want to delete, because maybe this product is already EOL, for example, you must be able to delete the record. So these are the functions. Use a different color. So the command in SQL, this will be insert. You don't have to remember, I'll run through in detail with you, don't worry. This will be select. This will be delete. Obvious. And I'm sorry, no, delete is below. Oops. Okay, wait, give me a minute. So not responsive. Okay. Okay. So delete this one. This update. Okay. So your tables, you have this. If you want to do a screen capture, you can. It will help you to do referencing, because we'll be running to and fro between the app and this slide, so that I can help you to visualize how are you going to access visualize all these different fields, because you need to know what these are as you design your application. Okay, so this is what the requirements is. You want to be able to access all this in the remote database. So how does the actual remote database structure is? Okay, let me just show you. This is the one. So currently in the backend database server, you have two tables. So table 1 is called inventory, okay, and table 2 is called transaction. So remember I mentioned last session that a table is something like a sheet in Excel. So this is like a sheet 1, this is like a sheet 2. Okay, so in the table 1, you have these are the fields. Same for this, same for your transaction. Let me just talk a bit. So stock ID, this one is the same as your stock ID, right? And then you have the stock name. The 20 here means that you can store 20 characters. So just need to take note, if you got more than, if you think that you will have, if your stock ID is longer or bigger than 20 characters, then please tell the engineer to increase this maybe to 30. Okay. Then you have your unit cost. So unit cost is a float. Float means that with decimal points. So you have 8 digits with 2 decimal points. Because it's a transaction on for the simplicity, but normal financial they have actually all the way to four decimal points. If I'm not wrong. Then you have your unit cost, you have your selling price, you have your discount. Discount we will use when you store this discount. Always make sure that it's already converted to, let's say if it's a 70% discount, right? You must store them as in 0.7. 0.7. It's easy for you to compute. Okay. But if you so 0.7, if you want to like say 5%, so that will mean 0.05. Then quantity, this one is an integer. Integer means that there's no decimal point. No decimal. Okay. So the 6 integer means that you can have all the way to 900, 99999. So that's the meaning of 6. Same thing for the quantity for discount. It's also an integer. And then lastly, you notice that you notice this user ID. Now, user ID is to differentiate who is the one that own this, who is the one that own this record. Because all of you will be accessing this table, right? All of you, there's one table here, but every one of you will be accessing this table. So in order to differentiate who is the one that is updating, that is changing or even deleting, so please make sure you have this unique ID. Okay, unique ID. Now, one thing you can take note is notice this key here. I place this key here. This key here means it's called primary key. Primary key means that if the record that is going to be stored in this database server, it has to be implied unique. Meaning no double entry. no double entry. And this one is a feature in your database system. Like for example, SQL Server, this one is considered as a feature. If you try to store a record, the same record with the same stock ID, and the same user ID, this particular table, the database will reject your request. Okay, so this is actually automated. So if you no double entry. So if you ever come across applications or programmers that still allow you to have double entry, I think something is wrong. Okay, it's not in this age that we should have this. Okay, so this one is a feature. So if you accidentally try to save a same record with the stock ID and the user ID, if they are exactly the same, that is already stored previously, you will get an error. Okay, any questions so far for table 1? Okay. Okay, both must be unique, both. So if you put both this field as primary key, means that both must be unique. For example, the stock ID and then the user ID. If the first record is, let's say, 100891, and the user ID is, let's say, Jonathan, right? And then if the next record is 100890 and still Jonathan, it's okay. This one is okay. But if you want to add in another record 100891 and also Jonathan, then this one will reject. Okay? So in other words, you can have multiple user, right? This one is unique as in this plus this must be unique. Anyone else has question for this table number 1? Oh, sorry, please give me a minute. It's raining here. I got to close the window. Okay. Okay, let me move on to table 2. I'll delete all this, okay? Okay, so this is table 1. Let me just write here again. Now, let me just answer Zongyang one. New data key was found. Key. Yeah, correct. So there's two command. When you try to do an insert, meaning that adding a new record, they will always check for this and this, right? Your primary key. Tiny database. No, Tiny database is a very, very simple database. They don't have these systems to check. So you can replace anything you want. But for SQL Server, it's a full-fledged database transactional system. So they have all these features built in. So insert, they will definitely check for primary keys. Or when you do an update, yeah, it's different. You can retrieve this record. What you're doing is that you're basically updating the information here. But you cannot update your primary key. Okay, primary key cannot be updated. Okay. Any more questions? Okay. So you notice that down here, there's this. There's this thing here. Meaning that table 1 is related to table 2. Okay. They are somehow related because there's a rope between, right? Between these two tables, there's a line. And one of the things why database, like SQL Server, Microsoft SQL, these are all called relational database. It's because that different tables, they have a relationship to each other. So this one, like a duck feed, right, means that this one is a one to many. It's a one to many relationship. So many means, what does it mean? Now, so in this inventory, this is an inventory, right? So inventory means that you can have, let's say the stock ID and the user ID is unique, right? User ID. So when you are doing a transaction, let's say a sales transaction, so you need to select one item, let's say 1000891, and it's by, let's say, by Dongyong. And then that item, you will have a selling price of, let's say, $100. Okay, this item number one, we have a quantity that the person wants to buy, let's say 2 items. And then the next item, that the next transaction, the same transaction, okay, the next for this single transaction, this transaction number 1, okay, this transaction 1. So the next item they want to add is another 1000892. The same, that means like the Zhongyo is like the cashier, right? The cashier that log in to this transaction for the customer. You know, it's $50 and 1 item. So for this transaction, you have 2 items, right? So this means that behind you have this transaction number. So this transaction is, let's say this transaction is number 1. So today date is today, let's use 20203001. Okay, the first transaction. Same thing for this 2020430001. So this is a first transaction of the day. Then I'll give this transaction number this. Then when I store them to here, you notice the primary key for transaction table, the primary key for the transaction table is stock ID and transaction number. So this means that this stock ID and the transaction number together must be unique, which is correct, right? You see, for the first item in this transaction this is the first item, this is the second item. So when you store them in the transaction table, you will have this information stored inside here. So when you want to retrieve this information, all you have to do is something like I want to query transaction number. This 2020430001. So the moment I search for this, I will be able to get these two transactions. And if I want to know what is this item stock ID, I just need to go here and do a lookup. In this case, I will show you later, step by step, that just by doing a select command, you'll be able to retrieve the information of what is the stock name, all this information. Okay. You notice that in your transaction table, you also have the quantity, unit price, this. So this and this, they are not the same. You know why they are not the same? Can anyone tell me why they are not the same? They can be the same, but they should not be the same. Should not be the same means that any changes to here and here must not be equal. If I were to, let's say, change this value, if I were to change this value from 88 to 100, maybe 1 month later, I want to raise the price to $100. Should I be changing this, selling this price, unit price here to $100? Anyone? So think of this is, think of this is this. This one is a transaction, which means that this is historical information. Means that any transaction that is added here should not change. Irregardless whether your historical data has changed or not. I mean, your inventory data has changed. Because anyway, your inventory need to be updated, right? The price maybe will be changed 1 month, every month. Maybe the price will have to change. The selling price need to change, or the discount need to change, and the quality. But your historical information, your transaction should not change. That's why they are not the same. Okay? Got it? Okay. Okay. If you got no questions, let's continue to do up a application to add records to the database, to my database server here. Shall we? Maybe let's take a 5 to 10 minutes humanitarian break. Okay? Because the whole session for updating to populate your app in order to access the table might be a little bit long. So maybe another 1 hour. So let's take 10 minutes. Okay, can you hear me now? Okay, for Adrian, this one for Adrian. So you see the text box here, right? This one is text box is from here. I basically add from here to here. Okay. Okay, then you go to your blocks. This is all it is. So I want to take the text box and then the text here into the URL of this web viewer. You got this? Okay, so once you have this, okay, then you should be able to enter the string here, the whole string that I sent out just now, the HTTP colon, this one. This one. You type all these things inside this text field here, and then you press this button. You should see the reply here. Do you have that? Oh, your mobile phone. Your mobile phone got wireless, right? I mean, got internet access, right? So if you enter, no reply means it's blank, is it? Can you try wait for a while? You just maybe wait 10 to 20 seconds. I don't know how long you might have to wait, but you see. But ultimately, you should see something. Yes, Abdullah got it. Oh, okay, for Abdullah, right? You want to change the name? Yeah, no problem. You see this? You just do a rename. Right, you just come here. You just click the screen and then you go here at the right hand. You can change the title. Okay, let's continue. I want to do this access remote data. Okay, we're back here again. So for here, let's create an access where we want to add allow every field to be accessible. Okay, so that you can actually change the information. So let me see. Of course, I want to show you the fields, but never mind. Let me just, I'll type it out to you. You just continue. You just continue entering. So let's first add the label. Okay, this label is the name, stock ID, and then a text box. And then the next one is we want to add the stock name label. We just have to keep doing this for every single field. Okay, we'll change the name later, but I hope you know where I'm getting. Basically, we want all the fields to be accessible from this screen before we press the update. This one is the stock name. This one, make sure it's changed. Okay, for adding the record, all of you, do you have all these fields done up already? Before I continue. So once you have finished this, let me know. Then I will work on the blocks. Okay. In the meantime, I better change the text box so it'll be easier for me to know what they are. Okay, I assume all of you have done this. Let me move on to the blocks. Okay. Now for the blocks, in order to access the web service, we need to key in a few information, okay? So there will be a few variable need to add. Okay, so let me just take a few days of this down. We just put them as by default. So firstly, you need to know the database server. Since we're going to be using that quite often, so we just put it as a string. I already gave you the information, right? But at the end of the whole number, you have this oblique, and then what we want is the access the PHP. There is currently on the server that provides this service. Will be the MS mobile app, Maestro mobile app, PHP. Can you all see this? Should look something like this. Key in the whole string of the IP, and then with a slash ms or ms. So ms mobile app dot php, and then the slash again. You need this, okay? Then secondly is, which is the longer version, longer ones, is that we want to add we want to build up the string to add the record. So it's an SQL add. So this variable will be the one that holds the string of the command on adding the fields into your database. So this will be pretty long. Let me just go back down again. So initially we still need a string, okay? And we want to access everything. We want to we want to store every single information, every single field in the record. We're going to do this insert into. The name must be all small cap, okay? If let's say the table that you created is capital letter, you must follow accordingly because it's cap sensitive. So in our case, the database is the tables are small cap, so it's inventory. And then this one, the next time I'm going to enter, let me just show you. This one is the key that is on the left-hand side. The key below the escape key was the shift key. It's not this quote, right? It's not your quote, not a single quote, or not your double quote. It's this one. Okay. So the first field is stock ID, comma. Then the next one is stock name. These are all the field name in the table. All right. And then okay, let me continue. Then we want unit cost. Then selling price. Discount. Quantity. Discount quantity. And user ID. All of you have this. All of you need to enter this in order to update a record into the database here. So if you are not able, I can see. If you can update, I also can see. Okay, I can see the database from my end. So I'll know who actually is able to add the record into the database here. Let me just run through again. If I'm too fast, I'll start from here. The starting string should be insert into inventory. Here, stock ID, stock name, unit cost, selling price, discount. The sequence must be correct, okay? If not, then you got problem. Quantity, discount, and user ID. Everyone got this? Zoom out, is it? Okay, zoom out. You mean like this? Okay. Can you type it? Because after that, you will need to do colon. Okay. This one, let me see. We need to do a joint. Okay, give me a minute. Maybe just, I'm trying to, okay, never mind. We'll just add that data. Let's see if we can. Yeah, Jonathan, you're right, correct. Insert into inventory. Yeah, that's right. Okay. Okay. Just checking with the tables if to make sure that they are all correct. Okay. Okay, so this one just add in one added for the values, right? Stock ID will be a text. Okay, let's try this first. I also need to try. Okay, but before that, just to make sure that the information are either you have no problem accessing the database, and all of you can let me just zoom in. All of you just key in a value manually in this string. Then we will try out your database commands. Okay, there's still quite a lot of blocks we need to do. So for assuming this is the value, okay. For this one, you have to use quotes. You see the value here? This one is the one that is, I don't really know how to call this guy. There's a apostrophe here, but anyway, for this one, for value purpose, it's a quote. Then I put in, let's say, 100, for example. Then comma again. Then the next one is the stock name. So I call it a network switch. Switch for port, let's say for example from port 1G BPS. Cool. And then the next one is the value. Now value will not have any codes, okay? So it's $88. And then the unit price, that's the unit price. Then the next is the selling price, comma. And then we have the quantity. Oh, no, sorry, the discount to be given. Discount will be 0.05 if it's 5%. Okay. Then let me see. It's the quantity stock on hand. Let's say I put 40. Then the quantity for discount 3. And then lastly is your user ID. This one, each of you must be different. Okay, don't follow me. For me, I put. Okay. And then you close it up with the bracket. All right. So in your this SQL add, put in all this string. Let's try it out first before we break them down into the entry. What we're doing here is this is the full command as you would if you were to if you have access to the database directly, that you would enter this command and you add this record into the database table. Okay. Everybody got this? Let me just zoom out. So once you have this, we have to start to okay. There's another things that we need to do is the add a what we call the SQL key. This one is something like a secret key. So I'm looking at some comments. Okay. Just copy. Give me a minute. I'm trying to get the chat. Oh, okay, okay. So if you see what Jonathan has typed up, is exactly the same. You can key in anything that you want for the information, but make sure that make sure that your user ID is different from everyone else. Okay. Don't key in the same as mine. You can key everything the same as mine, but leave this one as me. Put in your own name. If not, you have problem adding into the table. Okay, I got to see a few two different windows of chat, so sometimes I might miss anything. So if anyone see any message that I did not reply, just let me know. Okay, but I might not be able to see two message box at the same time. Okay. So next is the SQL key. You need to add this. This is something like a web sort of a password. Okay. So for this is APPSROCK. Apps Rock. All right. So once you have this, and this, let's build up the query. Okay. Just Put down a bit. Now, what we want is the update here. Right? Let me go back to the design screen again. That when you click add, this button, when you click add, supposedly is that whatever information that you put in here will go to the record. But we want to make sure that this function works first before we add this information. So that's why you key in all the values in that SQL add string. So go back to blocks again. And what we want is that when the user, oh, the button has not changed the name. Let me change the name for the button. Else it's confusing. Okay, so you have this button add. So what we want is that when you click the add button, we will run the process to send this information to the server. Now for that, we create a procedure. So this procedure, we want to change not just running a procedure, but we need input. So we convert this to something like what we call, in programming, we call the function. So this is run SQL query. And we need inputs. So we need one input. And let's name this input as query. Okay. So what happened is when user click this input, you go to your procedure, you'll run this SQL query. So what is this query? This query is the one, this whole string that we are sending, this whole string of command we're sending over to the web server. Okay. Okay. Everyone got this before I proceed, because the below one is a bit long. Now, we'll be doing a lot of this web one. All of you have this, right? So click on this one, and then what we want is to build up the URL. We need to build the URL, and then the URL is this server URL with the IP, and then with the PHP file that we want to access. So go to the variable, get that, which is the database server URL. Okay. And then after that, we need to build up the HTML request list. So go to your web one, go right down to the request header. Okay. Now request header is in a, you have a code within quotes. So we need to build up something what we call a make list. And we only need one. So I go duplicate this, need to add two of this, okay? But for this, I only need one input, so I'll take out one. All of you have this. I'll do step by step slowly, so don't worry. Because you'll make sure your steps are correct. If not, you have problem accessing the server. Okay. So next is that we need to enter the text for these two items. So for the first one is content type. The reason why we split this into two is because you might want to give you flexibility as in what other kinds of forms that you want to post. In HTML or in web services, when you're trying to send information to a server, you need to have this some sort of a protocol. So this is one thing we call posting. You're going to post your information to the server, then they can actually understand the process. So in our case is that we're doing an application. We need the application protocol, which is using the form x dash World Wide Web form URL encoded. Can you all see this? Okay. So once you have this, you need to do the post. Again, go down to your web one, and then select this post text. Yeah, post text. Okay. So once you have this post text, we need to add in another item. This time is to build the request data. We need to build up the data in this form, in this encoded format. So it's a build, or it's all the way up. Build request data, this one. So in this build request data, we need to make a list. And again, because it's all encoded, it's all coded within its code. It's a code within code in the HTML format. So you need to build up the list, make a list. Okay, make a list just like this one. You have two lists, which is because it's code within code. That's why you need to have two lists. And then let me just duplicate this anyway. So the first information that we want to put is the key. This is to ensure that the correct person is the one that is sending this key that the server will accept. Indirectly, they're trying to avoid unauthorized request. Okay, this is one way to stop DOS. Key, and then you need to go down to your web one again. Okay, now we need to do the URI encode. URI encode text. This key was the key that we entered just now earlier on, which is the app rock. So we will get that SQL key here, and then next they'll ask you for the query. What are you trying to send? So query, and what was the query? The one that you sent, all right? The one that you pass this to this process, right? So come here, go to the under your this procedure block, your local variable, which is query, which is this is the input that you send from here. So get the query, put it here. So your query procedure should look like this. All of you have this? Once all of you have this, then I'll proceed to the next item. Because this is the sending of your information, your request, and your commands over to the web server. And next, what we're going to do is what we're going to do after the server send information back to us. So make sure you have this first. Okay. Do all of you have this? I assume all of you have this one, okay? So next, what we're going to do is, what are we going to, what are we supposed to do after the server has processed all these requests and information? So go back to your this web one again, yeah. And then we're going to do this is what we're going to do when we got the text, yeah. Okay, quite a few things here. Now we need to check whether are we receiving the correct information, meaning that our request sent in correctly, or was there an error? So we need to do a conditional check, right? Meaning that we need to have some control. So this control will check for two things. A lot of time in web services, if you start to do your web design, I mean you do a web page and all things, you will need to encounter things like this HTML response code. So generally, you would like to see 200. So sometimes if you go to a certain website, they will give you like a code 400 or 404, right? So those are all the response code which the server is trying to tell you there's an error. So we need to check for the correct code. So what we want is check, then if else, then this one. We're going to check two things, this one, and then if not, then do something else. Okay, you see this? You can build up to become like this using just this, but for simplicity, just take this one. So if condition, do this. If not, then check this another condition, do this. If these two conditions fail, then do something else. Okay. So what we want now next is to check the number, because I mentioned just now that we are looking for a response number from the server. So if it's 200 is good, if it's 400 or any other number is bad. So which is a checking for number, which you got to go to the math and then take this condition out. They must be equal. So what we want is the response code, right? I mentioned just now, response code. And this response code, what we are looking for is 200. So if the response code is 200, then means that we want to add record. Now we want to add the record into the list. We have successfully added the record. So let me just add one more item here below. Go to horizontal arrangement. No, let's put it inside here. In between your user ID entry and your command below. We want something to show you the status. So this one will be like your status. Label. Let me just click this alignment to make it centralized. And click on this label. And since it's a status, I would like to show red color. Make it a bit bold. Okay. Then this one is, I'll just, temporarily for the text, I just put here as status. We're going to change that later. And since we're going to change, we're going to rename the label for use in our blocks. Okay. So go to blocks. So if the response is 200, means that we have successfully added the record. So what we can do is the label is this here, set the text, and then just to tell us that the record has one record inserted like that. Now there's another one is, what if it's 200? 201. 201 is successful, but there's some response from the server. So let's look at the content. So for the text, we will do this duplicate, but instead of telling us that one record is added, we want to get the response content. So this is the reply from the server. Okay. Now, if there's a failure, if it's not 200, if it's not 201, it is a failure, right? So we want to show what is the failure of this information. So probably the best way is to show notification. Let me go to design. Click and throw in this notifier. Okay, you go below. So below you have another thing called notifier. You see this? Because we want to notify us a pop-up window to show what is the error. Go back to your blocks, notifier, and then we want to show the message. Show a message dialog with the information. Okay, we want to add one small procedure which we want to change. Let me just put it below here. Maybe here. Create a new procedure. This one we'll call replace, because we want to replace the unique key. You don't want to show that, okay? And this will have one input, and that input is the text to be replaced. So this one is the text to be replaced. I'll show you. You just key in this one. I'll explain to you later. Then for the text, what we want is to replace all text. Replace all text. No, I'm sorry, my mistake. We need a result. This one. We need this one. Because we need to send the result back. So that's why this is just to run the procedure, but we need a item to send the result back. So we need to use this. Select this run procedure. Let me just delete this away. This one is to replace. Then this one has one input. That is text to replace. Okay. So the text to be replaced will be, you bring this one down. What this does is that you send a string of information to this replace procedure. They will search for this. They will input. They'll search for this segment here. Segment means that I want to search for the global key, because I don't want to show the key, right? And replace it with just asterisk. So what this does is that it will search for this SQL key inside this string that you pass to this process, and then you replace it with just asterisk. And that information will be the result will be returned back to the caller. So in this case, this is the one that's calling. So we want to take this, replace, and then the string is the content, response content. Get this one. And then we want to give it a title called error. So let's join something. Just to tell us that this is an error. All right, it's an error. And then what is the code? What's the error code? The button will be the one when they show the message dialog. What you want to show, what button or what text you want to show on top of the button. So it's just another text. So for us, since it's just info only, so we just press OK. All of you got this? So with this information, when you press the add button, you should be able to send your record over to the server now. Can all of you try? Let me check the server. Okay, I saw one record came in. Yes, you got 2001 because the server has a response for Zongyao. I saw his record in already. So your record is in. 201 is just to tell you that there's a reply from the server, but it's successful. Anyone else? Oh, you got bad request. You must change the. I did not put in. You see, I put in dash because I don't want to show the IP, but you must put in the IP number that I gave just now. All right. Yes, you must put the port number also. Okay. Or maybe can you put in the text? Can you what is your? Let me just. Can you see the blocks? All the blocks. If you got a bad request, check your command again. Is it because of command? Syntax error? The reply, did it show syntax error or it's a server side? All this information that you type, right? I type here, they must be exactly the same. Bad request means it's this one. Look at this. Do you have this? Make sure there's content type, application, all this wording must be exactly the same. Yeah. So you must type exactly the same. If not, the server will not recognize, they will just reject. Okay. So the whole block is just like this. Can you see? Or maybe too small. The whole block is just, okay, you have all this information, okay? Then the blocks for running the request is only this. And then the blocks to see the reply is just this. Okay, let me check the server. I still see only one person. Oh, I saw Miko. Okay, Miko is in. Ah, Jonathan is in also. Yes. Okay, what happened? Okay, call notifier. Call notifier is, or do you have this? Do you have this this notifier? Meaning that in your going back to your designer, you go to your user interface, you drop this over to your display, right? Meaning that you have this notifier. So when this notifier, go back to your blocks. You click here, you should see this. Go all the way down, show message dialog. Okay. Zongyo and Miko, can you send your request again? I just updated the table. Okay. Thanks. Okay. Miko, could you please send again? Okay. Oh, designer, yeah, this one. Designer is just like this. Okay. Anyone still got problems? So far, I only see Jonathan, Miko, and Zongyong. Let's wait for everyone. Because the next thing we'll do is the query. Okay, block screen. Like that. We just zoom out a bit. Okay, your query must be correct, meaning that for the queries, this is important, especially this content type, because web servers are very picky. You must type exactly the same. So this one, call replace. Okay, this one you have to go to procedure. Just go here. Go to procedure. You see this? This to procedure, this result thing. Bring this one out, and then change to replace. So that once you've done this, right, you go to replace, you will have this call thing. In this case, I already have done this. I already have done this one. I already done this procedure with a result. So that's why you have this call replace thing here. Anybody have any problems, please let me know. You just need to ensure that, but other than this, right, make sure your command, this command, anyway, I already copy over to the text. Just copy the everything and put it inside this address. This add, I mean not address, and this SQL add. Okay, just give me a minute. Let me just let me change over to the Skype. Okay. Oh, okay. Okay. Kok Chuan. Yeah. Don't. This one is for me to not show the IP. This one here from here to here. You must take the number that I sent out earlier on. Okay, let me just send out again. Okay, let me just send out again. You must key in this information with this information I just sent out. This one. Can you see? Key in this HTTP, which is the number inside. Key this one in and put it inside here. Because the error shows you that the error reply is with this blank underscore. So that's why you got problem. Okay. Okay. Just put this one up here. Easier to see. Okay, KC is in. So we have John, Casey, Miko, and Dongyong. If you have any problem, you can just like what Casey did was show me the error. The IB, okay, you see what's the question again? Let's see. IB. This one? This one is just the label because for me, I label this status and then I rename this as a label as a LB underscore status. This is just to tell me that I'll be using this in blocks. So in my blocks, what I did was If I receive 200, I'll have a reply. I will update my status, the text, as one record. Okay. But if it's a 201, I want to see what's the response content because there's a reply from the server. If you got problem accessing and if you see an error, screen capture that and send me via Skype. I will take a look. It's a little bit overrun, so I will probably continue with the select and might drag to 12:30, I think. Is everyone okay? Even after today's session, I'll post a video. And if you still have any questions down the line, just send me email or Skype. I'll reply you, no worries. Because I will leave the server on. You'll probably take some time to finish up this assignment for your mobile app. When you start to do integration work, there's actually quite a lot of things. Okay, can you send me the super long error code? Just screen capture and send to me. Okay, let me take a look. Okay. Okay, you look at this URL again. It's msmobileapp.php. You miss out the S. That's why you got problem. Was my text like that? Let me see. Did I key in wrongly? Because sometimes this S key got problem. I must type very hard, or I must type more than once for the S to appear. That's why this keyboard, this notebook keyboard got problem. Where's the chat? Let me see the string there. No, I did not send this one. So this one, go in again. This one, you see, msmobileapp.php. Can you try again? After you correct this. Okay, I got to see another one. Okay, for Jiehui, this is what it looks like. But in fact, if you don't have all these things, right, Jiehui, it's okay. What you really need is this add button and this status just to see the result. okay? But the rest of the thing, the blocks, you must have all these things in order for you to add the record into the server. Okay, Abdullah, you got 400. Oh, that's bad. Okay, your SQL command. Let me see. So, okay, your discount. If you look at it, your discount has in front of the discount. You forgot one quote. Look at the word. You look at your this insert string again. Your this one. You miss out this term. That's why your SQL command is wrong. You miss out this thing. Okay, I'm checking the server. So for 1, 2, 3, 4. We only have 4 entries. One, other than me, is 1, 2, 3. No, 5. 1. No, 1, 2, 3. Yeah, 4. We only have 4 entries here. Okay, let me take a look. Okay, oh, these ones are okay. 114. Okay. Okay. Hang on. Okay. For Adrian's case, Adrian, can you check whether do you have anything after this colon? You should not have anything. So there should not be a full stop. Just to check whether is it like that. And then for Abdullah, let me see. Okay, it's a SQL again. In field, okay. Oh, Abdullah, this one for the fields, you should use this, okay? For the fields, you should use this. But for the values, after the, okay, you see, I go here, these values, you should use a quote. This quote is like the quote below the double quote, the key. Don't use the same. This and this is different. This and this, they are different. And then also for numeric value should have no code because it's a value. You see, there's no code here. You go and put a code there. You should not have any code. All right. Only string, character, or variable character, alphanumeric, you must have a code. But other than that, numeric, no code. Can you try again? Oh, okay. I think I know what happened. No. Okay. 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 Can you try? Okay, let me see the reply right now. Message. Okay. Okay. Seems correct. Oh yeah, if can you look at your values? Your alphanumeric, you only the stock ID is the single quote is correct, but the rest you still put the same quote as the this your fields. You need to change that. This one. You go to your values. What is okay? Your first one. Okay. Your this one first one is okay, but all these are wrong. Your this one all wrong. These two wrong. Can you take a look? These two wrong. Then the rest are okay. Okay, Hanya is in. Abdullah is in. Okay. 114. Let me look at your text again. Other than your these two error values. Hmm. Okay. I'm looking at your error again. Specific URL. MS mobile. Correct. For Adrian's case, earlier on the browser, it works, right? The browser. Let me check your code. Let's see. Okay. Can you show me the this one? Oh, this run SQL code. This one. Okay. Oh, I know why already. Adrian, it's post text. You choose post file path. It's wrong. It's not. You choose this one is wrong. What you have is post file path, but what we want is post text. Sure, Miko. Yeah, no problem. Let's see. Okay, good. I think we have everybody involved in this. Anyone else trying to? Yes, that's right. Correct. We will Abdullah, Han Yao, Jonathan, Casey, Miko, Adrian, and Q. Okay, we have all this. Okay, next. Let's just do one more. Okay. We're gonna do one more. Since you have one record in in the database server here. So we're going to do one more is the query. Okay. Oh, okay. So for those who need to leave, you can just proceed. I will just mention about this query, and I will convert this into video so all of you can take a look later. Okay. So this one we'll just add one more on the layout. Add one more horizontal arrangement. Then fill. We'll just add a edit list. Okay. Just add a list view here. Yeah, pull out okay. Then just fill the width. So what I'm trying to do here is to issue a query command, which the command will be select. Then you populate this information here. So this will be a bit quick, and just this view. Okay. Okay. So you have added this as a list view. So we're going to show this. This list view will have text 22 is a bit too big, so I'll make it 16. And then let's go to the blocks. Okay. So on the blocks, so the moment you click that, we need to add in another new command. Okay, another new command. Now this one is that we need to add globalize variable. This time around is SQL query. Okay, SQL query. So this one is another command, another SQL command. So this time around is that we want to get the information. So let's say we want to do a select, and then the stock ID, stock name, unit cost, and selling price. From the table is called inventory. Now we need to put in a condition. Even though you'll be listing everybody's, all right? Where user ID equals to, okay, user ID equals to whatever the name that you put earlier on. In my case, I put Ken. So from where user ID equal Ken, okay? Then this one is you need to put whichever number or whichever name that you have put in earlier on. If you don't put this, you'll show everybody's. Okay. So this is the command that you want to send this query to. Now, there's a way that you can actually use. Right now, you see you have one web one, right? There you have one web. This is a web one tool that you already downloaded. I mean, not downloaded. I mean, put into your app. There's a way you can just only use one. You can use do multiple queries, but you need to have a way to check whether that request is meant for inserting a record or doing a selection. But to make things simplified, so let's go to the designer again, put in another connectivity. Okay, this time around number 2. And then we just put in another query. So let me see. Okay, let me just put this. So the way number 2. So what we want to do is that, you see, or add button, I run this SQL query, right? And then you run, when you do this, you're actually running this whole process. So when you run this process, you're actually using web 1. But when you do web 1, you need to wait for web 1's got text. So if you want to have another feature, we'll do this. Now we want to do query. So click down the query. So everything will remain the same. But this time around is that we want to, I should not have named this query. It might be a bit confusing. Let me just do another one. This one is run SQL select command. I should name this insert, then this one query. Then maybe it'll be better. Let's see, can I change that? No, I think, yeah, let's change that. Okay. This one is add. Okay, add. So this process already changed to add, and this one also changed to add. Then this one is the actual query. Okay. Okay. Yeah, that it looks better. So for when I click the button for query, I'll run this process query by doing this. Now I need to have one input, and that will be the query. So we'll go to the procedure, and then we will run this. No, not add. Run this query. Put it here, and this query is the one that we just added here, which is this SQL query here. So just add this. Put it here. Okay. Now, so the whole process will be the same. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to duplicate this whole thing. Duplicate this whole thing. Let me just drag it a bit here. And then do this again. Okay. Now remember, we are using the Web 2 this time. So make sure you change all this to Web 2. Okay, Web 2. Let me see. I'll change to Web 2. Then next one is when Web 2 got text. So go to Web 2, got text. Okay. Now the process is also the same. I'm going to just cut and paste here, duplicate, take the whole thing out. Okay. Records. So what we want to do is, the moment the response is correct, we want to populate. Let me go back here. We want to populate this list with the content that the content of from the web server, right? So go back to the blocks. See where's we want to show that. So we need to just simply do the Give me a minute. I have a problem with my this. Okay. Put in a new procedure. So this procedure is the moment we get the information back from the server, because we are requesting the server to do a select, right? Requesting the server to do a select. These informations with my username. So I will create a new procedure. I'll show you update records with an input. I put it as an input list. The one that's coming back from the server is actually a list. All right. So, and what we want is that we want the list view to output the list views elements, set elements to the input list. And then I'll show you something else later on, but simply put it is just like this. And then for inside here, you just need to call this procedure and transfer that content over. Transfer that content over. Run on the record. Okay. This is 200. Okay, 200. Web 2, right? Web 2, 200. And then this is a list, is an input list, and we're transferring this list over. So this list is similar to a CSV in Excel. So you list the CSV table from the text. List CSV from table, yeah, from the content, response content. So this is where it's coming back from. Okay. Okay. So now when you press this query button, what do you see? Let me go back to the blocks again so you can see what I did for the blocks. So for the web 2, here everything is the same as the one before. Everything is the same. Okay. Except that make sure that the call is to a web 2. Web 2, all these are web 2. Okay. When you click the query button, you will run this SQL query, which is this one, the select command. So select command is much more simpler than adding the fields, right? So once you have the query, and then once you get the text, basically what you want, the rest are also the same, okay? Basically what you want is just this. This is just for me to show the status that I have a records list. But what you really want is update the record. Get the response content, put it into a list of a CSV table format, and pass it to here. And down here, just basically pass over to your list view. Do you have this? The only difference is here. That's the only difference. False error. Okay, my syntax. Oh, okay, syntax error. Let me just go back here again. The select command should be. Let me see a select star 1, 2, 3. Selling price from inventory where Um, okay. For the where command, please put double quote. Please put double quote. All of you see the server reply in your list view. If you see, then you're successful. Anyone has any problems getting your list view to reflect the result from the server? The blocks, okay. Okay. So you have two blocks. This is the one that will insert the record, and this is the one that will query the record. So they're exactly the same. Let me just zoom in again for the query side. Okay. To add this is the button for click query, and then this is to send the information, the request to the server. And then this will be your response. The only difference in the response is this one. Let me just put this one out if it's easier. Updating. Okay. The only difference is you have one more statement here, which is the call the update records and transferring the response content to the list from CSV table text into your input, which is here. And this is just transfer that input over to element. The reason why I put this as a process, which I can actually take this and put it here directly, is because down here you notice that it shows everything, right? Because if let's say you query, right now is you query your stock ID, stock name, unit cost, selling price, but what if I want to access individually? You can do that, no problem. But that's the reason why I put it here. Then I'm going to show you how are you going to access individually. But before that, you try to make sure that you can list everything, your result back to this list view first. Okay, zoom out, is it? Okay, zoom out. Like that? Yes, if you do a select asterisk, you show everything. Okay, so you notice that, let me just spend a few minutes to explain a bit. You notice when you list, it shows everything, right? If let's say you were to do like what I did, stock ID, stock name, but what if I want to have only the information about this stock ID? So you can do that by, you notice by now you're actually doing a list, right? And you notice here, this one is going a list within list. So what you need to do is, if I want to show just the stock ID, what do I do? So let me just put that into the, so duplicate this. Let me just disable this one instead. Okay. So I want to show the stock ID. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a join. You can try later. You can try. And then what do I join? Let me just put this down. It's easier to see. List. I'm going to select the list from the list item with the index. Same thing again. I'm going to select. Oh, this one is just. And then I want to show stock ID, right? So I have a title called stock ID. Space. And then this one is a list within list. I'll see whether you all get it or not later. Just get this. So this is the input, right? And you have two index here, right? So these two index is actually numbers, right? And I think 1 or 2 sessions ago, I mentioned in this App Inventor, there's no array, right? But in order to use array, you have to use two lists. So 1, 2. What do you see? What do you see in your this status here when you do a select again? Play around, change the number, and you try to figure out what is these two number for. Okay, with this, we'll end this session. We will try to continue again because I'm planning to do up the training for next week for the engineers. So, well, let's see. Let's play by ear for the rest of this for this part. So we have covered update, which is the insert the record, and we have covered the select command to do a query from the database. So now you can add and you can list. And so there are other commands for delete and also to update or modify the records in the database. So the process, they are pretty much the same, especially this query portion. The only difference is the command. Okay, you can Google the different commands. I make the PHP code to be very generic, so you can accept any commands that you send to the database server. Okay, any command that you can populate in your string, the PHP server will recognize. And then the process for sending to the server is the same. Okay, this is the same. And then the only response is how you want to do what you want to do after that. So there is a way I mentioned earlier that you do not need to have so many F1, F2, F3, F4. You have only one. So by doing that is give a variable and maybe like a variable for doing something like selection number, selection number. So that will tell you what was being selected, right? So if let's say I click this one, so I'll just basically set the selection number to 1. Like that. And then after that, you can do this, the query. You notice this one is, and this, they are exactly the same, except for the query that you're sending over. So this can remain true at Web 1, but Web 2, when your result you will do the segregation based on the selection number that you entered. You got it? Can you all try? Okay. Okay, Abdullah, unable to view the content means you select your selection. Is it this one? Is it your selection? This one got problem? So look at your command again. For this case, because the whole process for this and update, if you can update, meaning that this process should not be any problem. Only thing is that make sure change all this to Web 2. Then look at your command again. Most likely your command got problem. I can cut and paste this to the text. You gotta change this to your name. Okay. And then for listing side, it's only like this. You just need to create one more update record procedure and transfer this. Make sure it's a list from CSV table, not list to, okay? List from. Then the response go to here. You list the information from a CSV table, which this is a CSV table, and then go to this record update procedure, which is here. And you don't have to do this. I mean, you just need to do this. Okay. Basically, let me just disable this. You just need to do this one. Then you should have it here. Information should come out here. Okay. So let's call it a day for now, and then we go for lunch. All right. Okay. Thank you, everyone.